Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We've got a very special one today. We've got Mr. Alan Warriner-Little. Thanks very much for agreeing to sit down and talk to us. And I know you've been inundated with these, so thank you very much for your time, first of all.
Absolutely. Plenty of topics, plenty.
Busy time. And you've got multiple hats on here as well, which will be interesting to see your thoughts on all of it. But first of all, World Championship is in the ledger. Again, double-sided. How did you find it? One, as a punter, enjoying it, and two, PDPA-wise?
Yeah, I mean, from all angles, it was amazing, really, because you've got to look at the fact that where we are now and where we was, £1 million first prize. Oh, my God. How did we get there? You know, I like to think that was part of that process from the start. Amazing now. I mean, not just the person that wins the million, but from our members' perspective, 15 grand if you qualify. If you win one game, you're on 25 grand. That could cover your costs for 2 years. You know, this is the way you've got to look at it from every perspective and whatever ranking you're at. But, you know, obviously a big effort from all the players, all the staff from Sky Sports, everybody. It must have been pretty difficult to do. But speaking to a lot of them, they just got on with it because it was a day after a day after a day. Went on for so long, but you know, the perception of it was amazing, and the feedback that we saw via Sky, because obviously everybody watches Sky over Christmas, don't they, when the darts is on and football, and that was brilliant. And from a player's perspective, I absolutely loved it, you know, because you've got all these stories that come out that we get every time, and you just don't know where they're going to come from. Ryan Searle getting to the semi-finals, terrific player. The Kenyan guy, Montaya, I can't pronounce his second name.
Yeah.
Getting a text off the president, I mean, that must have been
incredible,
an amazing feeling for him personally, and what it's going to do to darts in his area. So, you know, there's so many stories, and they always pop up every year. Amazing.
I'm guessing your phone was busy from a PDPA point of view, though, across that 3 weeks?
Just a bit, yeah, just a bit. I mean, I think things do happen. You know, the first one, obviously, is the Dom Taylor incident, because that's been quite prolific online. I mean, I've written some notes down just so I don't make any mistakes and make sure that we get everything right, because it's important to look at the facts. Everybody can have an opinion on drugs because it's the word D, isn't it? Drugs. Yeah. It's a very big topic, and I've seen from people that have shown me that it's been quite prolific online. So I think it's important to stick to the facts first, and then people make an opinion. Now, the first thing is that people probably don't understand is the only reason it's on the banned substance list is because it's illegal, not because it's a performance-enhancing drug, because it's not performance-enhancing. So there's no indication whatsoever of cheating or whatsoever. But the main thing is, if you get caught with a drug test, which the PDC, ourselves and the DRA are involved in, and get these done on a regular basis now, you know, you could be in trouble. But the thing is, it's the word in competition and out of competition. Now, if Dom Taylor had been in competition, and I'll explain what in competition is in a minute, that would have been 4 years. Out of competition, by wider rules and regulations, is 6 months. Now, what in competition means is if it's after the tournament has started. So from 23:59, the day before the tournament starts, that's considered out of competition. Anything after that is in competition. And because of the strength of the rule, the test and everything else that was discussed, and everything else that was mentioned to the DRA committee on the hearing, they were quite happy that it was out of competition. Hence, he got what they said in the guidelines from the WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, that it is 6 months. So if people got other opinions about it, absolutely fine, because it's not a great subject, and the boy's been a silly boy because he got done the year previously and missed the World Championships. Now, we've been asked, have we helped him out? Of course we've helped him out. The guy was in trouble. He's got an addiction. He's also, his life was all over the place. He was chaotic. How he managed to play darts with his life so chaotic, I don't know. Excuse me. But of course we helped him because he was in trouble, and he's gone to rehab. That's gone really well. Spoke to him today, strangely, this morning. He's due out at the end of this week, and everything's going really well, and it's all about aftercare. Now, obviously, because it's a 6 month ban in the PDC, it's effectively 1 year because he can't play Q-School till January. Now, whatever people's perceptions of that are, that's up to them, but he can obviously play local leagues after 6 months, and WDF if he wants. And that's basically it. I mean, you know, everybody has an opinion on it, but they are the facts, and the DRA follow the facts and the rules.
Couple of bits off that, because it is interesting.
Yeah.
Now, again, doing a little bit of research and so on, and obviously we're talking about cocaine. It's the main substance that he failed for. The medical councils and everyone says it only stays in your system for up to 36 hours.
Well, in WAD it says 4 days, up to 4 days.
But again,
yeah,
there is an argument to say that it could have been in competition, depending. It's very tight. I'm not saying it is or it isn't.
That's right.
But it certainly is very close to in competition.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, and that was the borderline. The thing was, it was about. It's okay saying it's that because that's a guideline, which is fine, and we all understand that. But the use was very high. So if you, for instance, do you get caught for drunk driving, and you've only had half a pint.
Yeah.
You've only had half a pint. But if you had half a pint in the morning, half a pint in the afternoon, half a pint at night, you're going to be over the limit. But your strength is very high. So same with the drugs, obviously.
Yeah, no.
If you take a lot of it, it's going to be distorted in the terms of the result. Yeah. Excuse me, I've got a bad throat.
That's all right. Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. I'm not saying it definitely was or definitely wasn't, but it is very, very, like you say, the guidelines, it is very, very close to being in competition.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely, yeah. He was very lucky.
Now, I get from a PDC point of view, but obviously, this is like more of a PDPA question, that yes, he can't play PDC for a year. However, there are very lucrative other options for him from June. Now, we're doing some rough maths, and I'm not saying he will play in all these, but potentially he could play in the Motor Super Series, and he has the ability to win a series there, which is £25,000. You've got the ADC Global, which is £60,000, or the WDF, which is £50,000. So we're still talking.
I have to get my darts back out.
Yeah, but we're still talking an awful lot.
Darts, it just shows you how big darts is now.
100%. But the general consensus on social media, and me speaking to other players that aren't particularly happy with the length of ban because of the deterrent, that they can say he's effectively had 6 months off and can then still go and earn a very good living from June because of his ability. And what message does that send out to people watching the sport with all eyes on the sport, and the younger generation that are now playing the sport? Is that enough of a deterrent to put people off doing it?
I understand that completely. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's been the topic of conversation, I think, from everybody's point of view. Again, it's all about the in competition, out of competition, a recreational drug, or a drug you're taking to basically try and cheat.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, in competition, out of competition, all these little rules. Now, the only thing you can do is follow those rules. If he plays again in 6 months' time, he's done the crime and done the time in terms of the rules and the law.
Yeah.
Now, what else can anybody do? People can have an opinion on it. Absolutely fine. I think there'll be a lot of people have an opinion on it, whether that's based on the facts that we've just talked about there, or their own thoughts. That's entirely up to them. But there's nothing else we can do. Well, it's not us that's doing it. Obviously, it's the DRA. But we're obviously part of the process, that we help the player, obviously, more than anything else. But that's the DRA following the rules, and we were part of that. So there's nothing else that anybody can do about it. But the one thing is that if he gets caught again, it's an immediate lifetime ban. Bang.
Right, okay.
That's the big deterrent.
So is that in or out of competition? Yes. If he gets caught again, it is a lifetime ban?
Good night, Vienna.
Right, okay, that's interesting. That's a lot of people that I don't think many people will know. So that's an interesting one. Obviously, Dom himself.
Yep.
I don't want you to go into your conversations because again that's confidential. But how is he?
He's doing fine. Offer him support, like you say. We can't give too much away. That's up to him to do. I did speak to him this morning and said I was going to do an interview, and he said, "Yeah, you can say what you like." He's doing fine. I mean, the most important thing now he's done or nearly finished the rehab is the ongoing care. We'll give him support because he's one of our members, and we would do that for anybody because that's what we're there for. And so it's important to follow up that and make sure that he follows his dream because he loves playing darts, and he's a good talent as well. I mean, you look at what he's lost. how stupid he's been.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you need to tell him that. But sometimes you need to drill it into somebody, don't you? That, you know, last year he missed the World Championships because of a failed drug test. This year he's done it at the Worlds again. He's lost £25,000 in prize money. Because of that, he's lost his tour card, which is big, as you know, nowadays. Can't play for 6 months, effectively a year in terms of the PDC. You mentioned the other ones, that's fine. Lost his sponsorship. I'm not sure about his management. I think they're at the moment still with him. So he's lost a lot, but that's all his fault. It's nobody else's fault apart from his.
Yep.
Now we're dealing with the aftermath of it, which is what we're there for, to make sure that he's okay, mental health's okay, his addiction's sorted out, and then it's up to him. But we will follow him all the way through and make sure that support is there for him.
What does the aftercare look like then when he leaves rehab and gets home? What does the aftercare then look like and consist of?
Well, it's different from two folds. One, Sporting Chance will have their own perspective on it.
Yeah.
Because they'll have their plan that they've done, that they've worked on all this week when he goes out, what he has to do, what the contact is, you know, phone numbers off your phone, all these things that you probably logically think of.
Yeah.
From our perspective, we're just making sure he's okay. So he's going to call me on Friday when he gets out, see how things are, what we're going to move on. We're going to keep in regular contact with him. That's all we're going to do, is keep in regular contact and see if he needs any more support afterwards. People can have an opinion on that, but we're going to make sure we give our players support, because that's what we're there for. That's the whole point of having an association.
I guess a lot of people are going to ask the rehab cost. Have the PDPA funded his rehab?
Of course we have, yes.
People will obviously want to know, and guess I don't want precise numbers, but is it an expensive process to put someone into rehab?
It's not cheap, but we have a fantastic. Sporting Chance are amazing. They really are. We've got a really good support network with them, and it's part of the deal that we have with them on an annual basis, where we pay for. Sometimes the money doesn't get used, sometimes it does, but it's amazing how many players are using it now. But it's confidential.
Of course, I understand that.
We don't stand on a rooftop and shout it out or put it on social media, because it's confidential. We just do it in the background, out of the way.
How much of a negative impact does this have on the sport, that the same player has failed a drug test twice within a 12-month period? And obviously, I know he's got an addiction and he's getting help for that, which is great, but how much of a black mark does this put against the sport that the same player has done it twice?
Doesn't help, does it? It doesn't help at all. I mean, it doesn't help the sport at all. It doesn't help him, obviously.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to have to try and get back into the sport because he loves it. In terms of timing, not great. The flagship event, the World Championship, so it made headlines. And the fact that he'd done it the year before.
Yeah.
So it's not been good. The good thing is that it's been dealt with reasonably quick, which the DRA tried to do, because obviously it's difficult getting everybody together and doing the hearing and then getting the result out and all these other things that have to be done in terms of the process. But everything was done as quickly as possible that we could do. Obviously he was immediately suspended, follow-up. We all saw the news things, but there's nothing else we can do more until then the hearing, and then the aftermath of the hearing, that was done. The ban was done, that was announced, get him into rehab. So there's been a bit of a process there, but the bottom line is it's not good, is it? It's not good for any sport. It doesn't matter what sport you're in, because people look at it negatively, which is understandable, and they all have an opinion on it because it's the word drugs with a capital D.
Yeah, and I understand that.
So we all understand that. We're not all stupid. We're all men of the world and women of the world. So it's just a case of dealing with the situation as best possible and keeping it, confidential as well.
I've got another one on DRA. I'll come to that in a minute, because we'll do this one first. Cameron Menzies was the other one. Everyone saw what happened on stage, and I'm guessing that, again, I know you've been in contact with Cameron and helping him out, but player having a mental breakdown the way Cameron did on the stage, again, how has that been dealt with, and how is Cameron and so on?
Cameron's a lovely lad, isn't he? Anybody that knows Cameron knows he's a lovely lad. He obviously had some personal issues, which is pretty evident by his reaction. And it was dealt with very quickly. From the moment it came off, there was people doing things. He was obviously gone to A&E to sort the injury out, because it's quite a bad injury, actually, by the way. As you can see by the force that they hit the table with. And he did an apology quite quickly. And within the following day, I'd already arranged for him to have some therapy. Which will help his mental health, which was seem to be the issue. That's not for me to
No.
decide or give prognosis or diagnosis for.
Yeah.
That's up to the people who are doing that. He's very happy with that, and it's going quite well. He's obviously playing in the World Masters. Got to get through the qualifier, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's obviously going to be difficult. Probably 3 games, I think he might need to win to get to the TV stage. But he seems very happy. He's very, very happy that he's getting the support, and we'll continue that again, like we would do with any player. And it's going well, but obviously confidentially we can't give too much away because that's not fair on him.
Yeah.
He wants to move on from it, obviously. It's going to be mentioned for a while, obviously, because it was quite a big issue and all over the news. But he's got to deal with that. Being a professional sportsman, he's going to have to deal with that. He's got a good management who will help him as well. And we'll offer him all the support that he needs as well. And certainly on a mental health basis, but anything else that he needs.
We know after the incident, Matt Porter said it would be a DRA referral.
Yep.
Has that been dealt with yet? Yes. Because obviously there's nothing on the DRA website to know. Has that been dealt with? It's
been dealt with, and the outcome and sanction has been done. But if it's not been announced, I can't obviously say anything. But that's been done.
I don't know which way I ran to. I'll do the DRA bit first before we go back to this. Now, one criticism of the DRA is that they don't announce stuff. Like they used to be monthly, 2 monthly. They used to update their cases.
Yeah.
So people know what players have been in trouble for, and people know when they've been referred because players tell people like me in the world. And Now, there's been nothing on the DRA website for coming up 4 years of what's been what. We know because players tell us, so then we can talk about it.
And we do as well, obviously, yeah.
Why is this cloak and dagger? Why won't the DRA update stuff and tell people? Because we see the incidents on stage. You can't hide from that. We know when Scott Williams sticks his middle finger up on the Euro Tour.
What's the update now? I haven't looked at the updates, actually.
There's been nothing since 2022, I think.
Really?
Okay. No case update. I'm sure it's 22 or maybe early 2023.
Oh, you mean the whole cases?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Because that used to be every couple of months that you could see what players had done. Yeah. Didn't go into massive detail, but you've seen they've been fined.
It gives a sanction, and I see what you mean, because it does update the news, but maybe not as much. Yeah. It doesn't give the whole year's sanction.
So it only gives the big cases, like the big ones that we've seen.
I shall be on to him straight away. I'm glad you mentioned that, because it was something I mentioned to him recently. Admin, it's got to be admin. Doesn't mean it's right. They need to put these things on and let everybody know, but I'll certainly make a note of that.
Correct, because people, like Scott Williams tells us, I got fined £1,000 for my middle finger. Yeah. So he's telling us, why aren't the sanctioning body telling us what's been...
It should be updated.
Better. I'd say, I think
totally agree.
It's either end of 2022 or beginning of 2023 was the last time we had those cases updated. All it is name, what the offence was, and the fine or sanction. And
I can assure you that the PDC, along with us as well, if the DRA are not up to scratch with something, we are onto them quite, consistently.
I know they won't want... it's not a good look being dragged up, but also people have a right to know what punishments are, and I feel they've got a right to know what punishment, because we've seen the crime happen, so to speak. So it's a bit like a court of law. Someone is there, and then they'll publish again, not the inner details and what was said.
They should update it a lot better.
That's what I mean.
It should be within a month, really.
And it always used to be once a month, once every 2 months. There'd be an updated thing, but it's like radio silence from the DRA, and that's what
I can honestly say it won't be on purpose. It will be an oversight in terms of everything else. It's like when you've got 50 things to do, and that's the 51st.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get 40 down and another 10 pop in. That's what it'll be. Doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
By the way, I totally agree with that. And I'll mention that to Nigel, actually, because I've not seen. I'll have a look later on.
I'm sure end of 2022, beginning of 2023 was the last time it was updated, and nothing since.
Just updating players on everything, and fans even, because fans are our core, aren't they?
Well, this is the thing. The way
everybody needs to know, wants to know as well.
That's the world we live in now. The information is there because players say it.
Yeah,
is the thing. On the mental health aspect, the World Championships really highlighted that there seems to be an issue. I'm not just saying in darts, but just in general within sport with mental health. That I'm not saying enough isn't being done, but the perception is enough isn't being done. I think that would be a fair way to put it. We've had
perception is fine. Yeah,
we've had a lot of
not reality, but perception.
No, that's what I mean. But the perception is not enough is being done. We've heard a lot of high-profile players speak out saying more needs to be done, and so on. Do you listen to those comments?
Of course we do. Yes, I speak to players straight away as soon as I notice. One thing I want to note here, and this was quite good actually. I got this off Sporting Chance last week. Which is the best sport at finding problems with their members in the UK?
I wouldn't have a clue, but I guess you're going to tell us.
It's darts, PDPA. That's from them, not from us.
Yeah.
That's from them. And the reason being is because we're on top of it straight away. I mean, I've got a lot of experience by being a 25 year in psychiatry myself, and the things that we have in place. We've obviously got Sporting Chance. Now, the thing with mental health is, I'll come to that in a second, but I think firstly, darts is so big now. You're under a microscope.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, walking in the shops in Sainsbury's, downtown, online, social media is so big nowadays. Interviews with you guys or anybody else, or if they're doing TV stuff, in front of the big crowds. It's got to be hard. It's got to be mentally exhausting. And then you're playing for so much money, prestige, rankings for your sponsors, all these things are piled up into one, so it's going to be hard to deal with. A lot of players have managers, so they have their own ways of dealing with things, and obviously we're there and we have things provided for them if they need them. Now, if you've got a mental health issue, it's okay somebody saying he's got a mental health issue, sort it out. That's not how it works. That person has to want it.
Yeah, I understand.
I can't make Billy blogs.
Yeah.
If I know he's got a mental health, it doesn't mean I won't constantly be at him and say, no, you need help. Yeah, because that's what we do. Now, we've had a lot of recent issues. I think Nathan Aspinall mentioned a few on the interview, because he always does, Nathan. He's very outspoken, and I don't mind that at all. I like Nathan a lot. And quite a few. Now, I can honestly 100% say that I've spoken to every one of them players straight after.
Yeah.
And if I spot anything, I speak to them. Doesn't mean they'll take up the services that we offer. They may think, well, I'm okay, I'm seeing my GP, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other. I might be seeing a psychologist of my own. I know you've got one. I know you've got Sporting Chance. I know you've got the free wellbeing app. I know you've got all these things. But I'm decided to go my own way. But I'll still keep tabs with them and make sure they're okay. Apart from the fact that I'll do anything for players. Obviously, that's the reason I'm here. I love doing it. But my psychiatric background makes me want to do it, because I really know I've seen a big trend of it over the last year or so. And I think we're going to see a lot more of the stress and pressure that players are under to perform and give everything and earn money for the sponsors, the managers, the sales, whoever. It's going to get harder for them. But please, please, please do 100% make sure that and know that we are on top of it all the time, even if we're not putting it on social media because it's confidential.
Yeah, no.
We're not stood on a pedestal saying, "Here, how good are we?" That's not what we do. We do it quietly in the background, and we deal with any issue that we see straight away, and some before anybody else does.
Is this almost a byproduct of darts? Because I'm going to use football as the process here, that kids are in academies from a very young age where they're taught not only stuff on the pitch, the media side of it is like they're trained from a very young age. So they're used to it, where dart players aren't. From the greatest one in the world, you could be dragged off from the Dog and Duck, and then all of a sudden, when you start at Q school, you could be on the master stage within 3 weeks.
It's all changed now, isn't it?
That's what I mean. There's no prep for them to get ready for what this now does.
You're right, yeah. When I look back at, say, when I played, obviously, and then just after that, the process was you went to the pub to play darts, because that's all there was, unless you had one at home. And you got good, and you hopefully played for a pub team when you were 18 and enjoyed that, and then you hopefully got into a Super League team and then a county team, went to tournaments, and then hopefully got enough ranking points at whatever tournaments to maybe get on TV. There wasn't many TV events then, obviously, but the ones there were prestigious at the time. Yeah. And that was the process. Now, JDC, fantastic from the word go, from youngsters who want to play early, and that's obviously gone crazy with the Little effect, as we know. They're getting loads and loads more youngsters into the game. So they're playing JDC, they're playing regular, competitively, at whatever level they're playing at, playing in tournaments, playing on stage. I mean, I remember Luke Littler being on stage at Milton Keynes on a Sunday morning, playing in the JD Super 16s, and thinking, oh, he's a decent player. Him.
Yeah.
But then we've seen others since then, and it's great to see. So what they're doing is then doing all that, going straight to the development tour at 18, and if they're good enough, Q School. So there's, like they said, there's no gap, or the only time we've got this learning experience we can give them is Q School, because obviously before then it's the JDC. That's up to them what they do in terms of talking to them about all the pressures of darts and everything else that's involved. We're looking at Sporting Chance doing a junior one, a junior talk where we used to do it for the senior players. We're looking at doing that this next year because it's just got so big for the youngsters. And we think it's important because all of a sudden they're thrown into this, big void of everything, and they've got to deal with all the situation that's in front of them and play great darts. And even, I'll give you an example of Charlie Manby, absolutely amazing player. We all knew that. One of the favourites to get a tour card. He nearly didn't. The stress that lad was under, when he lost on day 3, he thought all the world was ended. You have to remember his age. His age. He was distraught because of the pressure he was under from everybody else. I don't think his management put it on his family, but it was just the expectation after the Worlds because he had a good run in the Worlds.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously a decent player, lovely lad, talent amazing. But all of a sudden he just lost it because he thought, wow, I might not get my tour card. But he rallied, spoke to him a little bit. His manager spoke to him, he was there with him all week. And he got his head down and knuckled in and played some terrific darts on day 4 and got his tour card. But up till then, it could have gone wrong. But it just shows you the pressure these youngsters are under, and sometimes it's very hard for them to deal with. It's harder for older people to deal with if you're experienced. There's so much in the game now. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I wonder what it's going to be like in 5 or 10 years. It could be amazing, especially with Rehab and what's been happening down there and what could happen. Yeah.
I'm going to flip these two subjects around, what I'm going to speak to you about, because this tails in nicely on to Q School. Now, I understand that Q School is full of drama and so on.
Yeah.
It's also a very good money spinner. Yep. Shall we say it generates an awful lot of money. Is it the best way though? And the way I say that is you've got the Challenge Tour, which is meant to be the secondary tour.
Yep.
And you've got a year's worth of data, a year's worth of ranking. Would it not be fairer, arguably better, and less pressure to give out more tour cards for doing well on the Challenge Tour than heaping all the pressure onto the final 4 days of Q School?
Like to see the pressure, don't we? Yeah, I understand that. We have looked at it, and it doesn't mean we won't continually look at it. The PDC and ourselves talk about these things all the time. So if something doesn't happen, it doesn't mean we're not talking about it. It just means we're looking at, again, we look at data. I showed you earlier, didn't I? The data, which we'll talk about in a minute, and the tops getting into the top 8, 16 and 32. You've got to look at these things because it gives you an indication of how it happens and how it can happen. It's just one of those things, isn't it? People have an opinion on it. We changed Q School a few years back for the better by having the 2 sections.
Yeah.
So that 128 are playing in the last 4 days, so that everybody in that 128 is of good standard, if we want to use that term.
No,
and players that have dropped off the tour, and obviously players who've come from Challenge Tour and Development Tour. Now we've had that conversation. I like Q School personally. I think it gives somebody who may not have played on the Challenge Tour, somebody new that's coming into the game. There isn't that many tour cars now. It's normally averages around 30, doesn't it? Somewhere around there, sometimes below, sometimes above.
Yeah.
We have the 4 that come from the secondary tours from the year previously, and the ones who won tour cards the year before that who won a 2-year tour card. So it's an interesting topic, and we discuss these things and ideas every year. We're quite happy at the moment the way things are. Doesn't mean that we don't always look at it. You can't take your eye off the mark in this sport at all. Barry taught us that lesson from day one. And that's why darts is in such a good place. So it's good from that perspective. But we really need to sort of look at other options, but it doesn't mean we'll go for them options.
Of course.
We'll look at the options and say, we understand that the standard's good on the Challenge Tour. But you look now what the Challenge Tour gives to the players in terms of what they can win is different than a few years ago, where you can qualify for the UK Open, the World Masters. The top 3 now get in the Worlds. Top 2 get a tour card. They get some that qualify for free Q School. So there is a lot, apart from the prize money that they can win on the Challenge Tour anyway, there's a lot of things that they can win while they're on the Challenge Tour. So
I get that. From me looking at it, I would say not enough. In terms of, that is great, and I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
But if you're halfway through the Challenge Tour, if you're not in contention for the top 3 and so on, that drive's almost gone. And then...
Hey, do you know what? Honestly, I said to you on the last time, I think, actually, we do a lot of proposals that don't go online and people don't understand. Yeah. We did, which is still on the table with the PDC. We did one for first round prize money for the Players' Championships. One to revamp the European Tour, so everybody goes out to the European event, every tour card holder, and then plays down to whatever level they decide is going to be on TV. And the other one was for all tour card holders to be in the Players' Championship finals. So, we talk about the golden ticket, so we wanted to give or propose that if you've got a tour card, at least you're guaranteed something to maybe progress your career. That's the whole point of the proposal. And the other one, I forgot what we were talking about now. What was the thing?
The Challenge Tour having
the Challenge Tour, yeah. So obviously we've one of the other ones we mentioned recently was having more people from the Challenge Tour, because we've got the data there. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. And we were going to start off with an extra 1, an extra 2. Yeah. Because you can't jump in straight away and think, that's perfect, because they've been on the Challenge Tour for a year, 2 years. They've earned so much money. They're a good standard player. Same with the Premier League, which we'll probably mention later on. You can't do too many changes on it because it can mess up the tournament. It's like, I don't know, FA Premier League in football, there's only 3 that come up, 3 go down. You can't do 10 or 5 or whatever it is, because it can mess it all up. But it is an interesting topic, and good that I'm sure Matt's got his own perspective as well on these things.
The other one with the Challenge Tour that comes up quite a lot is 2 a day. Now...
Wow, yes.
Because it's almost survival of the fittest, not the best. We saw, I understand Challenge Tour 1, there's more players here because that really is the golden ticket. If you're in the top 5 of the first Challenge Tour, the likelihood is you're going to get call-ups for the first God knows how many. Absolutely. And I understand that. Yeah. But players are getting to the venue at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're still going at 10 o'clock at night. Surely that's not a good environment to play.
It's not.
Darts.
It's got too big. It's got too big for the venues. Lots of other reasons. Peter was the rep there actually.
Yeah.
And we've had loads of conversations since, because obviously players will know that after every event we do a report that goes around all the PDPA and PDC and we discuss issues.
Yeah.
So that was the big issue, and we've talked about it every year, and we kind of think, is it going to change? Is it going to be any different? And then this year was the same, and it finished really, really late. So what we did, which is great, because I absolutely love getting feedback from players, because you can then deal with things. Quite a few of our directors got some feedback from the people who are at the Challenge Tour. We've sent that to the PDC, and we've had a few discussions already. A few of them have been online, as in emails and stuff.
Yeah.
But we are looking at, obviously it's difficult now because the Challenge Tour started, but for the following year, we're looking at lots of different options now. But it's all about finding the best option. I'll give you a couple of options. Bigger venue, so you get more boards.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't take too long. Capping, these are just ideas, by the way. They're not definitely going to happen. Capping the entry level. It's getting it right. Maybe there's so many top 2, 5, 6 from Q School or whatever it is. That's just an idea. Third one, having a Challenge Tour in the UK and in Europe at the same time. So the European players play over there and the UK ones play over here. Having 1 a day instead of 2.
Yeah.
Prize money, but you've got to look at how much it costs, venue, prize money, all these logistical things you've got to look at and get to right way. So we've got plenty of time now to discuss them. Obviously, the first weekend was difficult for a lot of players who had good runs in them. Even the players that were winning, saying, this is tough. And I understand that. I think everybody understands that. It was such a long day because you're in so early.
Yeah.
and finish so late.
And then you've got to do it again the next
That's
day.
the thing. You can't. You've got to go at 7 o'clock and start again. So that's been difficult, but certainly a big topic and one we are discussing, and hopefully we'll come up with something that's relevant for next year.
The other one with that, before we move on, is I understand the first challenge tour has to be quite quick after Q School because they need the ranking for the Pro Tour. I understand that, but would it not be better to give them at least a weekend off in between Q School and that first challenge tour? Because a lot of players that I spoke to were like, we were just burnt out from challenge, like from Q School first of all, that playing for a week physically and mentally.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And then going into, for the amateur player, a massive challenge tour because of what goes with that first one. They were like, could there not be a week off in between?
I don't disagree with that at all. When you look at the calendar, you think, "Wow, I wouldn't like to organise that every year." The PDC do a marvellous job of that.
It's difficult.
Absolutely mental.
I understand that.
But that's another proposal we can put in and look at. It's not a bad thing. We've got to look at these things that from our perspective, we've got to have a duty of care to our members, and we've got to portray that to the PDC. We discuss things all the time, probably on a daily basis. I had a Zoom with them this morning about issues. We do this all the time. Because something's not on social media doesn't mean we're not talking about it or dealing with it. You know how it works, you know how we do things. And then when we think something's relevant, then the PDC will announce it if we think it's relevant at the time.
Premier League picks.
Yeah, well.
I'm guessing
every year.
I'm guessing there's probably two sides to this. One was the darts fan, but then was the PDC and PDPA head on here. Do you think they got it right?
Well, they don't often get it wrong, to be fair. We'll always have an opinion. I think every year, Matt sort of smiles, doesn't he, at the end when he's announcing them and saying, look, people will love this. And because they'll all agree with us, Matt with tongue in cheek. But it's always going to divide opinion because of the hardest thing is what players do in the World Championships. And it's almost, people forget that the season started in January. The World Masters was the first event. Yeah. And then you've got all the events throughout the year. So something like James Wade had a terrific season, didn't have a great Worlds. Terrific player, he had a shout. Quite a few other players were in the same boat. Danny Noppert, what a lovely player, lovely bloke, one of the nicest blokes on the circuit, was in the pot. Would I have picked him? Possibly. But again, didn't have a great Worlds. And it's almost like you're on the verge and then the Worlds comes up and things don't... I'm not saying it's right, this, by the way. Yeah. But you're on the verge because you've had a good season. The Worlds comes up, all the eyes are on you. It's all about the Worlds. But we know it's not, but it almost is. How are you doing the Worlds and he didn't have a great Worlds? As in not get to the last 8 or something. He could have done because he's been playing so well all year, but got beat in a terrific game. Which happens.
Game of the tournament.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But he had a good shout. Nathan Aspinall, maybe not his best season, but he's a Premier League player to me because of the way he plays, his fan base, all these things you've got to look at, because don't look at the Premier League as a tournament, look at it as a flagship event for the PDC and darts in general, because it's portraying darts to everybody in these big venues around the country with the top players, big names. Stephen Bunting, probably looking to get in, he'll probably know that. Didn't have a great Premier League last year until he eventually won one. But he's got his fan base is good. His walk-on, it's almost like a glorified exhibition in a kind of a way, where you've got the top players in the world playing for great money in these massive venues, 10,000 plus, over 4 months, and it's massive for darts, and all the players want to play in it. Did they get it right? Going price, maybe the last 2 years people would think didn't deserve to get in because he's not done as well as he had done the years before. But he's a box office player. We all know that. People love him or hate him. He's almost a Marmite character. Terrific player, could quite easily win it. Hasn't really done his best in it in the last 3 or 4 years. But he could win it this year. We don't know. He's certainly capable.
It's an interesting one. Like James Wade took to social media and he was very
absolutely
unhappy. And I get his argument. He's got to 2 ranking finals,
Yep.
the second biggest ranking final outside the World Championship, and not been picked.
And he's got the experience of playing in it before.
And players that didn't get to TV finals
Yeah.
are in. And I understand that it's not just what you do on the board. There is a separate criteria. Do you do this? And I understand that. But at what point does sport stop becoming sport? Do you know what I mean? Where you've got players that arguably have done better in what they're paid to do, which is play darts.
Yeah.
But they've been left out because they haven't got a good walk on, or their fan base isn't as big.
That's happened traditionally in the Premier League, though, hasn't it? You know, we look back at, no disrespect to any of the players, something like Peter or Wayne. You know, great characters in the game. That's what promotes darts into such this level. We have to remember, it's not a ranking event. It's a flagship event. It's an invitational event. Top 4 and 4 more. I wouldn't like to pick it because you're going to get it wrong every time. Because my opinion might be different than yours and everybody else's who's listening. But I do think James Wade had a good shout. And I think with James, he, unfortunately, and I don't know the reason, goes under the radar sometimes because I think he's a terrific player. Under pressure, in front of the big crowds. He's got an amazing CV. I mean, people would die for that CV in the sport.
Yeah, 100%.
And I love the guy to bits, known him for years. Played him when he was first starting and I was finishing, you know. And I think he had as good a shout as anybody to get in. But the bottom line is the PDC pick it, and we have to go with it because it's their choice.
No, it's an interesting...
It fills up this debate every year, and it's a good debate. It's a good debate.
Yeah, massively. PDPA.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's new? What can you tell us that we can look forward to, and what can you tell the players that what can they expect for 2026?
I'm going to do more of these with you, obviously. Because we had this conversation before the first one. That, you know, what we are looking at is trying to get to speak to our members more, and they do look at social media more, and everybody looks at the phones nowadays. Because our biggest problem has been communication with our members, so we've looked at that. So we've employed a marketing guy who's going to interview some of our players about how we interact with them and how they interact with us. So we'll look forward to that. There's one more to do, I think, one more player to do, and then we'll get that information back and then deal with, you know, what we think is the best way to do with it. I'm looking forward to this year of doing sort of individual interviews where I'll grab a player, you know, are you doing anything for half an hour? Come on, let's go through all these things. Because I think sometimes individually it works better. Yeah. Because people don't want to do it. Other people are watching or, you know, away from it. Because, you know, we see all these problems because social media, everybody puts their life on social media nowadays. And it's very difficult to follow, isn't it? Because there's so much going on. But I'd rather a player came to me, instead of putting something on social media saying, this room was too cold, what a joke. Why don't they come to us and say, you know, what can we do about it? Instead of putting it on social media, it just doesn't sit. I'm old school. Yeah. So I don't fully understand that. If I want to speak to a player, I'll go up to him and say, I can have a word. Not send him a message or put something on social media. Because I like to speak to people, because you get a better perception of everything. Enjoy speaking to people. You know, all the years I did exhibitions, not as many now, obviously, but you know, I love going into pubs, meeting new people. I'm that kind of person. What are you looking to change? What would you like to change in 2026? Well, I think we're looking at lots of different rules of, you know, like I said earlier, when Barry said, you know, you can't take your foot off the gas. You've always got to look forward, look at everything. So we're looking at ourselves initially. Are we doing everything right? And I think that's important for our members to know. We want them to understand that we will listen to them. We want them to give us feedback. So we're looking at ways that I've mentioned to get the feedback of our players. We do go to every event, not always TV events such as World Series, for instance, in Australia. Yeah. Probably not the best thing to do. I'll tell you one thing we are looking at as well is what facilities are available for players at TV events in terms of you know, drinks, food, beverages, toilet facilities, practice facilities, travel facilities around it. So we're looking at all them because I think that's important as well. When you at the end of the day, they're playing for, as an example, the World Championships, playing for £1 million first prize. They're not in a pub paying for 30 quid. So things have to be in place. The money's there, so we'll use it, but we want to use it properly. And we want our members to tell us what they think should be in place. We've looked at some things already, and we will have these things in place if that's what their members want. We will do what they want if it's reasonable.
A couple of bits on there. The one that you might be able to explain why. Why are players not allowed to speak to a member of their management team once the game starts during a break?
I think you mentioned this one before.
I said to Glenn, and he didn't know the answer, and he said he was going to try and find out. But I haven't spoken to him since. But every other sport, at some point, a player or team gets to speak to coach, manager, or whatever, they might have a different eye. They might be able to see something the player can't. Why is this never...
I don't know. I'm not fobbing this off. I actually generally don't know the reason why it happens. I know that when you go in the back, for instance, during a break, that there's one practice board there. Well, there's two practice boards, but in one area. And so the two people are playing each other, go in there. Now, that's maybe not perfect.
No, I wouldn't say so.
They might have had an argument. You don't know, Skinner. They might have had an argument. Maybe want to... psych themselves up a little bit more and want to be on their own. Maybe I think we've discussed this with the PDC because obviously it's all down to statistics again. So it's just a case of looking through all these things and thinking what's right. Again, if players, I've not had one player come to me and say it's wrong.
No.
So that's probably why it's not been dealt with. But it doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. If a player comes to us, so again, they're the kind of questions we will ask players.
Yeah, I think it's very mixed. I think some players would want it. I think some wouldn't. I don't think
there'll be a mix. There'll be a mix.
I don't. You won't mind me saying this. I don't think Michael would want anyone in his ear during a game. But there are other players that would want just a little bit of advice, or have you what's going on with this, or you're doing this. So I think it's an interesting mix, and almost going on like this. That this big communal practice room that I get back in the day. It was a very social sport, and it was good. But it starts almost outgrown that. The money people are playing for now, and so on, they want their own space and privacy where it's just them, maybe their manager or their love. Do you know what I mean? Like footballers have a dressing room, boxers have a dress. I'm not saying it's ideal or always perfect, but has darts almost outgrown this big communal laugh thing where everyone laughs and jokes and so? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're playing for so much now, aren't they? So
this is what I mean. So,
they need to...
And when you're practicing or you're tweaking something, you're on a board, your opponent's there. You don't want him potentially seeing what you're tweaking or maybe working on. Do you know what I mean? These little gains and these little margins that we're talking about in the sport now.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, if players want that, we'll certainly look at it. Again, nobody's come up to us and said, can we change this? I mean... Again, it's all down to feedback again.
Yeah.
We want players to tell us if there's a problem with something or they've got an idea. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be changed because it doesn't mean their idea is right.
Yeah.
But we'll respect their idea and look at it. Look at it properly. And if we feel it's necessary, we'll discuss it with the PDC. I think if it's the right thing to do, we'll do it.
Now, I know you've spoken about this and you said that you've had conversations. MVG in Saudi Arabia said it will happen.
Yeah.
The ranking change. How far down the line are we of a potential ranking change? And where are and what's the PDPA's preferred switch if it is going to change? Is it to a point system? Is it a 1 year? What is the talking?
We haven't really got a preferred system. What we've been asked to do is look at the rankings and see if they need changing. So we've come up with ideas with the PDC. We spoke to them quite a lot towards the end of last year, before the Worlds. At this moment in time, just by the way, it's currently on hold.
Yeah.
The PDC board, who have the final say, they looked at it and they're sort of deliberating on what they think the best thing is to do. Because obviously this year would be an interim year where we're going to look at any ranking systems we've thought of in the background.
Yeah.
So we can see how they work.
Yeah.
See if they throw up any problems, any scenarios that we weren't aware of before we had that in place, because you don't know until it happens.
No, of course.
So I know that these are in iDarts already.
Yeah.
So we can look at them during the season. But at this moment in time, there's no change. But we are looking at certain things like, let's have a look. A percentage of the prize money coming off in the second year. For instance, if you won $1 million, it stays on for the whole year and then slowly comes off over the year.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Some people don't like it, some people do. We're looking at using points instead of prize money because it could be distorted because the amount of prize money in the World Championships, obviously, with it being $1 million.
Yeah.
That seems to be a lot of people's preference away from the PDPA and PDC. But doesn't mean it's going to be preferable to the PDC and ourselves. We've got to look at it and make sure it's the right thing to do. Now, we'll look at all sorts of angles of it. We'll look at the end of the year, see how it goes on over the year. And if we do think, oh, well, this works really well, we'll then go in front of the PDC again and they'll tell the board that we think this will work and then they'll make a decision. I'm sure there's other ways we can look at it, but they're the two ones that we're really looking at as possibles and see how they work out over the year. But it doesn't mean that they will happen. But we will look at it and look at other angles as well.
Timescale wise, I'm just playing devil advocate. Let's just say that there's a system that works and there is going to be a ranking change.
Yeah.
How long does it take to implement and move from the one we're in?
That would be the hard bit, wouldn't
it? To the new one. And what kind of timescale do you believe we're looking at if it is to change once it's been selected?
Yeah, the interim, it's got to be at least a year. It has to be. So that you've got the year that you've just had, the interim year, this is how it's going to work, and then fall into the first point of it after that. So I would say at least a year.
More changes to the European Tour criteria. Again, are we going to get that right? Are we going to get the European Tour right? Because the last 3 or 4 years, it just seems constant change after constant change, where even players don't know if they're coming or going anymore because the constant switching around.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. The minimum change this year, really, just in terms of the reserve.
Yeah.
But that was a logical one to do, really, because you couldn't really have a reserve coming in and then going higher than somebody else in the draw. So that was quite a logical one to do. Now, the European Tour is obviously divides opinion on our members because of the entry criteria and the qualifying criteria, and that's totally understandable. But again, that's why we put in a proposal of having... It's difficult as well because when we put the proposal in, it was at the same time the PDC announced the prize money increase, which was amazing, by the way. And I don't think anybody could argue with that. So that, difficult for the PDC to we need to change it because obviously they've already announced the prize money change. So, but it doesn't mean it won't happen next year or 2 years' time or 3 years' time or whenever. But we've got to look at the future. But we do believe that having all the tour card holders there in the event is a good way to go because that means every tour card holder's in the event.
Yeah.
And then it's up to them on performance. You're always going to get people not happy with qualifying criteria if they don't get in. I understand that. I'd be the same. I don't think anybody would be any different because you think you're being hard done by. But the reasons these are done is for the sport itself, not for individuals.
Yep.
They want the sport to prosper. They want the European Tour to get better, which it has done. It does every year. It goes from strength to strength. There's so much money in it now. Massive crowds that are coming to the European Tour events to get them ready for TV events. But it's certainly something that we discuss every year because we want to make it work. We want players to be happy. We don't want anybody to be unhappy with something. That's the last thing anybody wants. But they have to realise sometimes that what's in front of them, we talked about this sheet I gave you earlier.
I was coming on to that in a second. Yeah, this was the segue in.
It's kind of gone into it where, people have said it's very difficult to get in the top 8, the top 16, even the top 32. Now, the perception is exactly what I've just said there, but the reality, which I've showed you, it isn't. It's very similar. There's no pattern. It's very similar every year and has been since... when these stats done, 2019. We're getting into the market. It's been very similar. You look at the World Championships, Ryan Searle, bang, straight in, because he got to the semi-final on performance. Quite a few other players, it happens every year. Somebody will get in the top 8 or top 16.
Moving on to the Wimbledon World Masters.
Yeah.
2 bits on this before we dive in even more.
Yeah.
Raymond van Barneveld chose not to try and qualify, which I understand is his right to do. He doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But is it a bad look when a player chooses not to try and qualify for a ranked major and goes and plays in an exhibition over a ranked major at the same time? Is that a bad look?
Well, possibly. I can understand people saying that, but I suppose you've got to look at it from his perspective. He's probably looked at it all, and he didn't have the best worlds. He's one of these players. I mean, he's been one of the legends of our game. We all know that. Striving to try and get some of that back, which is understandable. And he sometimes makes things harder for himself than he probably needs to. He's maybe thinking, I'm not playing well enough at this moment in time to qualify. I don't know the reason. So he's got, like you say, an exhibition or something lined up. Because obviously you've got to qualify, but there is money in the qualifiers. I know it's not the thousands or whatever yet, but it's only the second year of the revamped Windmill World Masters. So that will hopefully get better, certainly for the affiliates as an example. But whatever his decision is his decision. I mean, we can't change that.
On the prelim rounds, obviously the lists were released today, and when the Wimbledon World Masters returned, it was, on paper, it was great. And by the way, the format is incredible to have this format back in the PDC. However, the news today didn't look particularly great with the affiliate side of it. When it was announced we were going to have players from all around the world coming to play in the Wimbledon World Masters and try and get to the TV stages, where there's only, I think it's 6 players from all the affiliate tours combined have chosen to travel. We've only got 1 from North America. There's none from Asia, Australia or New Zealand have decided to travel due to the lack of money that they could lose thousands of pounds by qualifying. Alex Spellman did a really good thing on his own channel why he chose not to come, and it was purely financial.
Yeah.
Has this got to change? Can it change for the Windmill World Masters to thrive? And not only that, maybe in a broader picture here, we want the sport to be truly global, and we've got huge areas and regions of the world opting not to come and play in a flagship event. What can be done? Because it's a bit of a mess.
Firstly, when you look at it, I mean, obviously the PDC offers so much prize, with 25 million in prize money over a year. When you look back at, say, the WDF or the BDO, they used to do the World Masters, and you didn't get anything, but everybody still went. So it's a similar scenario, isn't it?
I think that comes, though, because there's more money on offer in their own territories now to play darts. They don't have to travel.
Well, that's changed recently, obviously. But in terms of our World Masters now, I mean, obviously we know that Dave Allen's changed his job, and a lot of his work now is going to be with the affiliates. It is early days. I think we had more last year of the affiliates playing, because we did have a few more actually playing Q School. So you've got Q School, the Challenge Tour, and the World Masters all in January. Yeah. Within, 3 weeks and a bit?
Yeah.
So that's the idea, but not as many people from outside Europe came, for whatever reason, because we've got terrific players in Asia, as you've seen in the Asian Tour, which has started, and all around Australia. That's going great guns now with the entry levels. That's going terrifically well for the first time, and obviously getting bigger in the CDC in America and North America. Obviously that's a little bit of concern, I'm sure. So we'll have to look at that, or the PDC will have to look at that and see what else they can do. There is prize money, but not for just turning up. So, maybe they need to look at that a bit more if they really want the World Masters to get bigger. In terms of when you look at the other majors, in terms of prize money, it's still a little bit behind. Doesn't mean it won't get there. It's only, like I say, it's only the second year of the revamped Windmill World Masters. It does take time, and these things will be talked about, and I'm sure the PDC will come up with something better for next year. But at the moment, we'll look forward to this long weekend. Yeah, look, it's obviously it's great to have the tournament back, but I get it's tough. But the way the world is, it costs a fortune to travel, and I understand that. think it's all that. I mean, if you're sponsored, it probably wouldn't matter, would it? If you're paying yourself, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, and I don't think many of the international players have sponsorship levels as we do in the UK and Central Europe, because...
And backing yourself as well. If you think you're good enough, you'd do it, wouldn't you, I suppose? You know, obviously difficult. If you haven't been to the Q School and the Challenge Tour, and just coming off of this, it would be quite expensive. If you're coming for all three, you've got three options of, you know, 3 chances to improve your game, all these things that, you know. But again, if you pay for it yourself, you know, it's quite expensive. We know that with traditionally over the years with players that have come over from Australia to got tour cards and made it, you know. Damon Hitter's, you know, still there.
Yeah.
You know, it's difficult. We understand that, but most of the tournaments are over here, unfortunately, and in Europe.
Is there anything the PDPA can do to help the international players?
It depends on what level. I mean, I don't think it'd be appropriate for us to pay their airfare, I don't think, but it doesn't mean that we can't help them in another way. I don't know what that way would be. Obviously, this has just happened, and we'll discuss it with the players and the board. But it's certainly something that's an option that we can help them in whatever way. I don't know. We'll wait to see what the PDC think as well, because obviously we'll discuss it after the event and get a full picture of everything. Good to get feedback again, like Alex Spellman putting that on. I've had a lot of good chats with Alex recently. On lots of things, you know. So it's good to get that perspective and get the perspective of the CDC and what's happening there in terms of that. So obviously we want that to fix. That's why Dave Allen, what a great person to do that job.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, things will improve for next year.
Before I let you go, 2026 season.
Yes.
What are you expecting? The bumps in the road, the highs, the lows. What are you expecting?
I'm really looking forward to seeing Bo Greaves play as a tour card holder.
Yep.
Because she certainly ripped up the women's series, and again on the other side, if she is playing as a tour card holder, she may or may not play on the women's series. I don't know yet. That's her choice.
Yep.
So that would then, if you're playing on the women's series, you'd be thinking, oh, got a chance of maybe qualifying for the Worlds here, or qualifying for something, or earning some money, or getting better, or whatever it is. So that will certainly help. Looking forward to seeing all these new tour card holders, how they progress, and you know, we'll certainly help them along the way. We've done all the tour card inductions that we do every year for every new tour card holder. Sort of prime them ready for the season, everything that they need to do. So looking forward to that, and all the other things that we've discussed. Plenty to do, and a new season ahead.
Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Got one more before I let you go. This is more on you than PDPA business.
Looking forward to this one.
You said about not taking to social media.
I don't often do it, but I just felt compelled.
But you did. First of all, not part of the New Look ITV tournament. You've had a few weeks to reflect.
Yep.
Does it still hurt?
Oh yeah, it will do for a while. Yeah, quite upset about it actually, to be honest. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm one that'll speak my mind if I want to say it. I don't hold back. Sometimes probably should do, but I don't. That's just my character. But I think what people need to understand is, because I say I don't follow social media as much, so a lot of people have told me that they've got the wrong end of the stick. Now, we were told by ITV that they weren't going to do the production anymore last year, and so we was like, oh, okay. So what's happening? Because we never really got told that much. We were eventually told that Matchroom were going to produce all the darts, which would be shown on ITV. So okay, no problem. And also told that they would contact everybody in the ITV team who does the commentary and let them know what's going on. Okay, fine. They spoke to every other every other pundit and commentator, apart from me. So that was what I was griping about. They let everybody else know and didn't even have the courtesy or professionalism, in my view, to at least pick up the phone or whatever and tell me. And that was quite upsetting after nearly 20 years doing it, being part of the system with the PDC and PDPA, being the first world #1, originator of the PDC when we set up the company. And it just felt like a real dig in the ribs. And I wasn't very happy about it.
Has anyone spoke to you since you put it out?
No.
Still no contact from anyone?
No.
is that almost... light's gone out on you, it's fine.
There you go. ITV, lights have gone out. Sorry about
Is that almost even worse that the fact that, okay, it might have been a mishap to start with and forgotten, but the fact that everyone's seen what you put and then still not got in touch, is that almost worse than the original one?
Possibly. I don't look at it like that. I'm a big boy. I'll get over it. I've got lots of other things to do in my life. I'm 63 now. I've had a great career. Still doing lovely work with the PDPA, which I love. I'm sure I'll find something else. I've had some offers of a lot of things. I've even picked up my darts again. I'm getting some exhibition work out now. Really enjoying it because I used to love doing that. And stopped doing it because I didn't have much time. But the bottom line is, just be professional. Look, if they don't want me, that's fine. I can't do anything about that. That's their choice.
Yeah.
I'll still be upset about it because I loved doing it. I really did love doing it. I thought I was okay. Other people may have a different opinion.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I really, really enjoyed doing it. And to be treated like that, I just felt like I had to say something, and I think I deserve something better.
No, it's a good point. And what do you think of the new lineup then?
There's a couple I don't know, so hopefully they'll do okay. Obviously, we want darts to go well. I'm not going to sit here and slag it off. That's not what I'm going to do. But I know, obviously, Wayne and Dan and Webby and Chris and Glenn know them well. So good luck to them. Not a problem at all. I mean, they're mates of mine, colleagues, whatever you want to call it. Hope it goes well for everybody else.
Will it be strange not being there this weekend?
Yeah, I think this is the first one. I mean, I'm here now for the prelims tomorrow as part of the PDPA.
Yeah.
Then once all the qualifiers are done tomorrow tea time, whenever it finishes, I shall be packing my bag and going back home.
But it'd be nice, obviously it hurt that you're not here, but it will also be nice just watching it at home with your feet up. Or will it hurt still?
I think with it being the first one, it's going to hurt a little bit still. I don't know really. I don't know what I'm going to feel, I suppose. I'll do something else. I watched Man United for playing football because we've won 2 games on the spin, so we think we're great.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to add that we've missed off from a PDPA point of view that you'd like to...
One thing I've just remembered, and sometimes when you get in the throw of things, was on one of your last interviews, I think it was with Chris actually, you were talking about mental health, and you thought that the PDPA were too old to look at mental health on one of your discussions, that's your opinion. But what I would say is, what gives you the qualifications to say something like that? Because I didn't think it was right.
That's fair.
I don't think it helps things. I think people in your position and other people that do media, we're talking about all the problems in mental health now, and I think you should be saying the PDPA do great work on mental health because you know where it is. We've told you. Why don't you look at that? Because I'm sure they'll get involved in that and do that and help things instead of being maybe a bit of a burden. That's our opinion. But everybody's entitled to opinion, but it's got to be some kind of factual basis as well.
It's a fair comment. It's a two-way street. We sit and have message conversations on a lot of things. So again, I'll take it on board and so on. Did you tell Chris that as well?
Well, I'm going to see him tonight, hopefully. So I'll tell him. Chris is my best mate.
Only one.
I can tell him anything, can't I?
Well, I think I'm on your table for the wedding, so that'll be an interesting.
That's all right. That'll be a good day.
Thank you so much as always, my friend, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.